When it comes to the topic of marketing, I often hear people utter phrases like, oh my gosh, it's so hard. I'm just not good at it. Marketing feels gross to me. And you know what? It's kind of no wonder, right? Because this is not something that we were taught in schools. It was not something that was handed down by our teachers. And when it comes to the act of marketing, there are so many possibilities out there. There are so many platforms. There are so many things that we can do. And it's easy to feel overwhelmed because when we're looking at, what are all of these options that are out there, putting together an actual marketing plan kind of feels like throwing darts while you're blindfolded. Yeah, Sarah's totally going to try to do a sports analogy today, so just hang with it. Sometimes in throwing these marketing darts, you're going to hit a bullseye, and sometimes you're going to go way wide and you're going to hit a wall. And I will tell you stories about my own darts playing and hitting walls later on in the broadcast. But the focus of today is how can we help our businesses get discovered? And more importantly, how can we do it without hitting a lot of walls? So that's what we're going to be looking at. And I'm really excited to share this information with you. We're going to be looking at specific ways that we can increase our ability to aim our marketing and hopefully not, like I said, hit a bunch of walls. So before you try to put together a marketing plan, before you think about the platforms you're going to use and the tactics you're going to use, I want you to listen up because I have a feeling that you're a lot better at marketing than you realize. And these tips that I'm going to share today do not require any darts skills. So before we get to this, let's play a little music while I check on all of the feeds and make sure that we're going live, and I will be right back. In the meantime, please say hello if you're joining us live or on the replay, and let us know where you're tuning in from. All right, there's some shenanigans going on behind the scenes, so I'm going to do a couple more things here. So if you see my eyes going everywhere, it's because I'm making sure that the lives are going. So the topic of the day is we're going to make sure we bring this up. We're going to talk about how to aim your marketing because this is something that a lot of people, I feel a lot of people don't know how to aim their marketing just because of some basic concepts of marketing that aren't understood in our industry. And so basically what ends up happening is we do a lot of, because we are not taught this stuff in schools, we're just not. And I strongly believe that, courses on running a business, courses on marketing and things like that should be included in music programs in college. Colleges, please listen. But also, so we're not taught these things. So what ends up happening is we start doing some online research, right? We go into Facebook forums, we go into blogs, etc., and we see what other people are doing. And then what we start doing is we start copying what other people are doing because we're like, okay, well, X is doing this, so that means I should probably do this for my studio. Hey, not a bad way to learn. But over time, what ends up happening is that when we're kind of using other people's marketing as examples, we run this risk of gathering different types of tactics and strategies that actually won't work for our business because our marketing requires something that's a little bit different. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at how to aim our marketing specifically for our businesses and not, just copying somebody else's business. Let me see here if there's one little issue going on Instagram. I feel like Instagram just is not going live. So we're going to double check to make sure. I'd love to know for those tuning in. First, can you see me, hear me? And then second, what kind of difficulties have you had when it comes to aiming your marketing? If you're willing to share your stories down below, that would be amazing. Because, we can really learn from one another when we get specific stories. And I have lots of examples that I'm going to be sharing today, so I'm excited to do that with you. All right. So I think we're going live, but Instagram just might be out of luck today. We'll see what we can do. All right. So, Cassandra says, "Love your hair. Thank you." It's a little wild today. It just kind of did its thing. All right. So the topic is how to aim your business's marketing. And I will just say, for those of you who might be new here, hi, my name is Sara Campbell. I am a business strategist, marketing, and mindset coach for music studio owners and online ed experts. And on Wednesdays, we go here and we talk about those topics. So today we're diving into marketing and really thinking about how can we become more strategic with our marketing so that you're not wasting a lot of time, and that you can get more results for your efforts. And so I have set up some things today. If you are on Facebook or Instagram, you can drop the word AIM down below and you can get a hold of the show notes from today. We've put some show notes together, and those show notes will give you a quick recap of everything we're covering here, so it's very easy to access. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and look in the chat. And you will find a pinned post there where you can get a hold of the things that I just mentioned. So, all right, let's see here. One more check. I'm going to check one more thing here to see if something has changed with the URL. It has. The RTMP URL changed on Instagram. And so that is why Instagram is not going live. Let's see if we can fix that. I'll just figure that out later. All right, so here we go. Let's unpack this issue here. I'm going to just do a quick recap of what I said at the top. The main issue is that since we are not taught how to market, we do our own research in learning how to market, and that might involve looking at blogs. It might involve like asking questions in forums, etc. And then we're getting ideas from people. And then we take those ideas thinking, okay, if I see this person doing this, then that is how I should market my studio. So you pick up that tactic, you add it into your marketing plan. But what ends up happening is kind of coming back to this darts analogy. I want you to think of, sometimes the idea is going to strike, it's going to hit a bullseye, and it's going to work really well because it has hit on all the points we're going to talk about today. Or that tactic that you're trying to use, this idea that somebody else is using, when you try to use it, it's like throwing a dart at a board and going way wide and hitting the wall behind it. So let's take a look at what we can do in order to... This says November on it. That's so silly. Okay, we're just going to take that down. I'll edit that for later. All right, so let's look at the tips for today. The first tip is this. So when it comes to figuring out, how to aim your marketing, this is the most important thing to do first. You need to learn how to pinpoint your targets. And what I mean by this is you really need to know your audience. We all teach different types of people, whether you are teaching like one-on-one lessons, private lessons, or whether you are a course creator and you're creating courses for adult pianists, or you're creating courses for teachers, etc. We all have different audiences. And so one tactic for somebody, like if they choose one platform or a tactic, it may not work for yours because it's not specific to your audience. So just like a dart player might zero in on a bullseye, we have to focus on pinpointing our ideal clients. In other words, we need to start choosing platforms where our marketing is most likely to hit the mark. So what does this involve? Let's break it down. So first, we need to understand their needs. What do these clients need? We need to understand their preferences. And we need to also understand where they hang out and get their information. Now, I know a lot of people think, with the word marketing, it's like, oh, online marketing, right? Oh, we talk about social media. It's not just social media. We're going to unpack that a little bit further later. But I want you to remember that your ideal clients, especially if you're working with them in person, there are places where they get information in person, not just online. So let's put... Okay, final point here. Basically, if we wrap this up in a nutshell, right, the concept is there's no point at all in using platforms that your clients don't actually use. And so that's where a lot of people fall into like wasting a lot of time and a lot of effort in putting their marketing plans together because you're choosing a platform where people don't hang out. So let's look at some examples here. So let's say, for instance, that you teach teens, right? Okay, so let's say that you teach voice lessons to teens. Now, one of the things that we know about this is, especially once we get like up to the 15, 16-year age mark, the students are actually the ones who are going to be looking for the teacher, not the parents. So that means that you are actually marketing to the teens and you want to be known by them, not just the parents. Sure, some of the parents will be doing that research, but a lot of it will come from the actual client themselves. So if you are marketing voice lessons to teens, don't use Facebook. Because we know, I'm so sorry, brace yourselves, Facebook is for old people like us. The only reason that teens use Facebook is to check up on their parents to make sure that their parents aren't sharing any like awkward photos of them. So if you are marketing to voice lessons to teens, Facebook is not the place for you to be, right? You need to figure out what are the platforms that your teens are using. And if you don't know, ask your current students, right? And this doesn't, deal with just online platforms. It's thinking about where are they going to get their information. How are they getting information from their peers, etc.? How are they getting information from their choir teachers? All of that kind of stuff. Let's take another example here, but I see a great comment from Motif Music Studios. Let's bring that up. Okay. They share such a great topic. I've definitely struggled with this as have had such a huge diverse team with multi-instruments and levels. I've been thinking about this lately. Well, then you're in the perfect place. Hooray. All right. So let's see here. All right. Sorry, I was trying to fix Instagram. It's not going to get fixed. Let's move on to this next point here. All right, let's take up another example. So we're talking about this idea of pinpointing your targets. We talked about voice teams. Let's pick a totally different example. So let's say that you are a course creator and you are creating piano courses for adult students, right? This guy does not want to stay on the screen. If you are marketing piano courses to adults, I want you to think about where they're already getting their information. Now, adults get to be a little bit trickier because they are using more and more platforms nowadays, much to the chagrin of all of the young people who are on TikTok saying that like all the oldies are coming over and just ruining their platform. Anyway. Thinking about adults, where are they getting their information? Well, they probably hang out on Facebook. That's where they tend to connect with their friends and family. But they may or may not be getting information about piano over there. They might, though, be getting information on Instagram or TikTok because there are a lot of creators over there who tend to post like educational and discovery style content, meaning like here's a quick way to play a blues riff or something like that. I think of people like Lauren DeGiorgi. If you follow Lauren DeGiorgi, let me know. He is my favorite. Oh my gosh, he's my favorite because I've known Lauren for over 25 years and he used to tune all of my pianos. Not only my pianos in my studio, but he tuned the piano that I grew up with. He tuned all of the pianos at the college that I went to, etc. Lauren DeGiorgi on Instagram, follow him. So he's a genius when it comes to creating content, and he does create some educational content around like how to, how to do certain things on the piano. And he posts a lot of funny stuff too. So adult students are probably looking on platforms like that. They're also probably spending a lot of time on YouTube because that's where they're doing research. So do your research, know your audience, know what they need, know what their preferences are, and know where they are currently hanging out to get information, whether that is in person or online. Yay. Yes. Like Lauren is fabulous. He's such an inspiring creator. We'll have to tag him in this video and let him know that we were like gushing on him. And yes, this is a great point. We still find a lot of Instagram adults and families. Yeah. Instagram is kind of, I know that some teens use it, but they basically use it for stories. They don't necessarily use it for like creating their own content. So it's kind of interesting. All right. If this is resonating with you, if you are finding this to be interesting, do me a little favor and show some appreciation right now by liking this video, hearting this video, commenting down below, and letting us know that you're here. All of those things are just a very simple and free way for you to support us here at Savvy Music Studio so that our content can get seen by more music teachers. And if you are here, please take the time to do one of those little things. All right, let's go to the second point. Okay, so we talked about pinpointing targets. Now I love this point. This one's a little, I don't think I've ever talked about this here on the broadcast, so I'm excited to share this. So with this point, what I want to focus on is, once we know our audience and we know kind of where they hang out, I want you to think about the different platforms that you're using and match up a purpose with that platform, because each marketing platform is like a different section of a dartboard. This is where the analogy kind of gets messy. It doesn't work very well, but we're going with it. Each marketing platform is like a different section of a dartboard, and it serves a distinct purpose. That's an analogy fail. All right, but what happens is that each platform offers a unique advantage. So I want you to think about matching up your platforms with specific types of goals. Let me give you some examples. So goals could be something like brand awareness, right? It could be student recruitment. It could be community building. Not every platform is going to hit all three of those points, and there are other goals as well. When I say brand awareness, let me just define that real quickly. What I mean by that is that you are coming to front of, that you are starting to get well known, that you would be the person who would come to mind when that client is ready to seek out your services, etc. It doesn't always translate into sales, but awareness is a really important component to making sales, because if you don't have brand awareness, nobody's going to know about you. So I want you to think about, how do we match up these platforms, right? The problem that I see often is that we are starting more and more to equate the idea of marketing with social media marketing. And that is only one component to our plans, right? Social media is a wonderful tool for brand awareness. It can also, once you have really established your brand through socials, it can be a place where you recruit students, but it's not going to be that instant solution that people often think it's going to be. So I want you to think of social media as just one platform. And if you're new to it, or you haven't really been spending a lot of time and being intentional there, I want you to think of social media as your brand awareness place. That's your playground for brand awareness. Now, when it comes to things like recruitment or community building, as you are trying to aim your marketing, some things that you might want to consider is local networking, right? Local networking and local events are great opportunities for student recruitment. Google Business Profile, that is like when you Google something like piano lessons near me, having a Google Business Profile is a great way to get found. So that can be, it is brand awareness, but it's also a great recruitment tool. And if you are looking for ways to build community in your marketing, which is another way to increase brand awareness, right? Business partnering can be really lovely as well. And for those of you who are course creators, I work with a lot of you, don't forget that one of your most powerful marketing tools are email campaigns. So if you have not become familiar with or comfortable with selling via email, reach out. Let's chat. Start getting comfortable with it, because that is one of the most powerful ways for you to make sales in your business. Whether you're doing courses or memberships, etc., email marketing campaigns are going to be one of your biggest ways to increase revenue. Okay, so that brings up our third point here. Let's bring that up onto the screen. Oh, okay. Wait, before we do that, I see there are quite a few of you watching silently, and I encourage you to please comment because it makes me feel good. I would love to know from you, what is your biggest brand awareness platform? And what is your biggest student recruitment platform? Now, remember, these platforms can be either in person, right? When I'm saying platform, sometimes we think of line. Let's think of avenue or like place. So what is the two questions I would love for you to answer so that we can compare some things here and also know that like one person's platform is going to be different than the ones that you want to use. What is the platform that you use best for brand awareness? Where do people find out about you? And two, what is the place where you get the best student recruitment? What is the method where you get the best student recruitment? Hi, Jill. Thank you for saying hi. That makes me happy. I love it. Cassandra shares that I need to set up a table at vending events 3 to 4 times a year. I think that would be marvelous for you, right? It's a great way to get known in the community. It gives us the opportunity to recruit students, but also to connect with other local businesses. And when we do that, it gives us these marvelous opportunities to like build our referral base. And I have a whole video that's about referrals. And one of the things that we talked about in that video is the reciprocity principle, right? If you want to learn about that, just drop the referral down below and we'll see if we can dig up the link for you. Okay, great. I'm seeing a lot of good information here. Yes, so Motif shares, when we need some students, we definitely try to reach out to our email community first. It's also wonderful for new groups and instruments. Great. I love that. Karen says, I've gotten most of my students, so her student recruitment is through Google Business or personal referrals. Awesome. Jill shares that the best right now is word of mouth and recommendations by clients in community Facebook groups. See, we've got this combination of beautiful things going on. Motif says brand awareness seems to be Instagram. However, since starting a YouTube channel, it's actually swayed my audience to piano teacher audience. Oh, I love it. So, but I'm realizing I need clarity. Oh, I can help with that. Cassandra says word of mouth. Jill says this will be the year I set up an email funnel. I love it. Yes, moms groups are fabulous when others recommend you. And you can get very strategic about making that happen. That's a thing. All right. We've gone over 2 points so far. We've got one more to go, and I've got a bonus one, right? We got a bonus one. Ready? Okay. So let's review the darts analogies so far. We've talked about, I probably should not have done darts analogies. We've talked about pinpointing your target, right? You don't know where to throw the dart unless you know where the dartboard is. That's knowing your audience. We've talked about choosing our dartboards wisely. In other words, like matching up the platforms with a specific purpose in your marketing, whether it's awareness or recruitment or community, etc. Now we're going to talk about focused throws equal better scores. So let's unpack this. I think y'all are going to like this tip because up to this point you might be going, oh, Sarah, that sounds like a lot of work. Gross. All right. Don't worry. I thought about you on this. In the game of darts, it's not about throwing the most darts. It's about actually throwing them well. So one of the things that we can do is take a more focused approach on a few key platforms or places, right? Because when we do that, we can actually yield better marketing results than if we are going to spread our efforts too thin and use too many platforms. So try to avoid that if you can. And instead of trying oh gosh, I have to market my studio, so I need to use 9 platforms. I'm going to do word of mouth. I'm going to do networking. I'm going to do business partnering. I'm going to do online searches. I'm going to do flyers. I'm going to do TikTok, Instagram, blah, 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 Pinterest, professional listings, etc. Doing all of those things at once is going to be exhausting. And now, am I saying you can't use all those things? I'm not saying that. I'm saying you can't use all those things all at once. unless you want to spend like 10 to 15 hours a week marketing your studio, which I don't think you want to do. Anyway, all right, so let's let's get more specific. Repeat after me. If you are using every possible platform all the time, you are going to burn out. And we don't want you to burn out. So here are some options for you, right? Choose 1 to 3 platforms to focus your efforts. One of the things that I like to do with my clients is that we sit down and we create quarterly plans, right? We do year-long plans, we do quarterly plans. And when we do that, we get really specific around what are our goals, right? What do we need to see happen? And then how are we going to make this happen? And there's a specific process that I lead people through. And part of that process is choosing specific platforms and doing so very mindfully that we've we hope, chosen the right one to find the right people, right? We've determined what the purpose of that platform is, and then we're starting to use the tactics, right? So choose 1 to 3 platforms at a time and focus your efforts on those. If you find in a couple of months that you have not yielded results in that platform, there are a couple of things that you can do. That is the point where you examine the tactics that you're using, and you think, okay, where can I tweak this? Maybe that's the point you reach out to a coach and go like, hey, I'm doing all these things, but they don't seem to be working. Can you please help? I do that. And maybe at that point you choose, hey, this is actually not the platform for me. And that's okay. There is nothing wrong with stepping away from using a strategy or a tactic. All right. So that's one of the things that you can do. Now, if you are team-based, or if you are really into learning tech and automation, one of the things that you can do if you want to have more visibility on more platforms at the same time, you can either delegate or you can automate. But remember that when you're doing that, you don't want to let it go on total autopilot. And I'm just going to be really brutally honest with you. Like, I am very guilty of sometimes letting the tools that we use go on autopilot. And then I realize like that some of the posts that have been made on Savvy are like totally not appropriate for that time of year. So we're going to take control of that more in 2024. But anyway, so consider this permission to focus on quality over quantity. I like this. Yes. Okay. See, this is great. Focus throws. I needed a reminder. Distracted squirrel over here. Okay. Jill shares, I get confused who my target audience is because I teach. I post random performing videos and I'm trying to sell sheet music to teachers. Well, Jill, what I'm hearing here, right, is that you have multiple revenue streams, right? So I would think of those things as different revenue streams. Like performing would be one revenue stream, teaching would be one revenue stream, and sheet music would be another revenue stream. And so since you have different revenue streams, you actually do have different ideal clients. Does that make you feel better? Or worse, I'm not sure. Right? I mean, it gives you permission to think about, okay, my marketing plans are going to be different for the different revenue streams, right? So because I experienced that as well, right? I own Savvy Music Studio, and this is where I coach teachers. I also own my private studio that's just down the street from me here, and that's where I teach adults and teens. So those are 2 very different types of marketing. Okay, so we're going to get to our... Oh, it feels better? Okay, good. I wasn't sure if I made it worse. I was hoping not. Okay. Cassandra's takeaway today is quality over quantity. I love it. All right. So we're going to get to one bonus tip here in a second. But since y'all are hanging out with me, I just want to remind you the Savvy Sara bot is ready to help. So please drop the word AIM down below if you would like to get a hold of the show notes that we worked so hard to put together today. If you are on Facebook or Instagram, drop the word AIM and you will get a hold of the show notes. Or if you are on YouTube, look in the chat or in the description of this video, and that's where you can click on the link to get the goods. You'll be sent a quick recap of everything that we've talked about today, and you'll be sent links to opt into other goodness here at Savvy Music Studio. Speaking of other goodness, all right, before we get to this bonus tip at the end, I do want to mention, if you want more support with figuring out how to aim your marketing, we have several resources for you. One of the things that we have is we have our Get Found Online guide. Look at me pointing at that the right direction. It's mirrored on the screen, so everything I do is backwards, and every time I try to point at something, I go the wrong way. So we have our Get Found Online field guide. This is a great way to get started in figuring out what platforms would be best for your studio. And it's not just social media. We talk about all kinds of things on there. We're talking about social media. We're talking about search engine platforms. We're talking about hybrid platforms, things that kind of have a little bit of both. And you will also get a very strategic way to plan out your marketing. I give you my 3-step process to plan out a marketing plan. So if you want to get a hold of that, that's really easy. You can go to savvymusicstudio.com. In the top menu there, just click Get Found Online. We also have our social media course, which honestly kind of is starting to become an online marketing course. So we might be shifting some things inside of there. If you are looking for specific ways to use Facebook, Instagram, or Google Business Profile, that is where you can get all of the great information. It also gives you some guides on how to create engageable content. So again, savvymusicstudio.com. Just go ahead and check out the social media course. It also comes with a social media audit personalized from me. So you can find out exactly what to do, right? Okay. And then finally, if you are someone who needs more support than that, and you are looking for a one-on-one marketing coach, that's what I do. Reach out. I will have a couple of openings that are starting in December and January. So if that is something that you are interested in, let's have a chat and talk about your goals, see what you are wanting to do, and map out some potential timelines and see if we'll be a good fit. All right, that's it. All right, so ready for the bonus tip and the rapid recap? I know I'm going a little long today. Sorry. I'm having fun chatting with you guys. It's fun. Oh, yeah. Cassandra, need to reopen the guide and go through it. Yeah. Amy, thank you. I appreciate that. Awesome. Okay. Let's get to the bonus quiz. Bonus tip. The bonus tip is this. Practice makes better. What was funny is like the first thing that came out of my mind when I was developing these tips was, of course, the phrase practice makes perfect, which we know as music teachers is not true. Really, even practice makes better is not true. We should say good practice makes better, but that just sounds weird. Just as if you wanted to get good at throwing darts, right, you would practice throwing darts. Same thing happens with marketing. Regular and consistent efforts are going to, one, make it easier for you to market because you will get more comfortable with marketing. And two, it is going to be essential for building trust and recognition because maintaining a presence is going to help with long-term success because consistent engagement is crucial. It allows us to build that type of long-lasting trust with clients that is going to eventually lead to student acquiring, right? And yes, there will be seasons where you don't want to market a lot, and that's okay. But remember, consistency is important. Okay, let's get to the rapid recap. Drum roll, please, y'all. And if you haven't already shown us a little love by hitting that heart button or that thumbs up, subscribing to the YouTube channel, now's your time. Let's go through our, yeah, right. Perfect practice makes perfect, but who's ever perfect? Exactly. 100% Cassandra. Okay, let's do this. All right. So when it comes to aiming your marketing, it's really important to know how to aim because if we don't actually, you know what? I'm restarting that because we're going to use this as a recap and that just didn't feel right to me. Let's do this again. I often hear from people that marketing feels awkward. It's gross, it's weird, and you just don't like it. And part of the reason is because a lot of us don't know how to market. It's not something that we were taught in schools, etc. So we go and we look for advice in forums, all of this stuff, and we start copying what other people are doing. And then we find that maybe that didn't work for our studio. Oh, so gross. What do we do? Well, we need to learn how to aim our marketing. And here are 3 tips and a little bonus tip at the end to help you aim your marketing. The first tip is this. If you want to have effective marketing, you need to pinpoint your targets. You need to know your audience. If you don't know your audience, you don't know where to market. So I want you to think of a couple of things. What do these people need? What are their preferences? And where are they getting their information, whether it's in person, online? Because there's no point in using a platform or a strategy if your ideal clients don't engage with that platform, or they're not going to see that strategy. So if you're marketing to teen voice students, don't use Facebook, because Facebook's for old people. If you're marketing piano courses to adults, ask yourself, where are they already getting this information? And look at those platforms as ways that you can aim your marketing. Second point here, when it comes to choosing platforms, let's take this a little bit further. So I want you to think of marketing platforms and realize that not all of them have, let's try that area again here. I want you to think of matching up your platforms with purposes. So every marketing platform is unique. Every marketing platform is different. And I want you to pick a purpose for each platform. Some examples of purposes might be building brand awareness, or student recruitment, or building community. So think of what is the specific goal for using that platform. And remember that social media is not the only way to market. I'm talking about in-person things like networking with businesses, increasing our word of mouth, kind of referrals, etc. So think about local events, local networking. That can be great for student recruitment. Google Business Profiles, also great for that. Business partnering can be great for community. Email campaigns are wonderful for course sales. Match up a purpose to each one of your platforms so that you know what style of marketing needs to happen there. Next, remember, when it comes to marketing, focused throws equal better scores. If you were throwing darts, it's not about how many darts you throw, it's about the quality of dart and the aim of that dart. So rather than thinking, I need to do a ton of things and post on a ton of platforms and kind of getting messy with your marketing, choose a few key platforms to focus on, because you're going to get better results if you focus on a few key places than if you spread yourself too thin. So pick 1 to 3 platforms for your marketing efforts. And if you do need to have a wider presence, then you need to think about delegating and or automating. But remember, don't let it go on total autopilot. And finally, one of the best tips that I have for marketing is to remember that practice makes better and consistency is key. I know that marketing can feel uncomfortable when you're new to it, but you're not always going to be new to it, as long as you regularly practice marketing in your business. So maintain a steady presence on the platforms that you're using, maintain a steady presence when it comes to those in-people events, etc., because that is going to allow you to build long-lasting relationships and brand recognition. All right, that is it for today. Thank you so much for listening in. We'll be back with more goodness later on. And remember, if you want help figuring out how to aim your marketing, we have lots of resources for that. Check out our online Get Found Online Field Guide. You can also check out our social media course. And if you're looking for one-on-one help, reach out. It's what I do. All right, we will be back next time. And in the meantime, stay savvy and stay you, because you are an amazing teacher. That's what I meant to bring up on the screen. Stay savvy, stay you. You're an amazing human, and there's no one in the world quite like you. And we will see you next time. Thanks all. Bye.